I am talking now about the Netflix movie Cuties, done in France, brought over to U.S., and it's a movie by a Senegalese former Muslim woman. She talks about the sexploitation of children. Ben Shapiro has a good video on this, nuancing things, laying things out. And here's what basically happened. Netflix originally had a provocative ad of these little girls, 11 years old, dressed in these provocative outfits in a sexual pose. They apologized for the ad. But the whole thing is, hey, the movie talks about kids being exploited and the wrongness of that. And that's what the movie is about. But Lila Rose tweeted this out. Pro-life leader Lila Rose tweeted this out. This is what she said. You don't fight child exploitation by exploiting children. You don't stop child pornography by creating, selling, and distributing child pornography. So here's the deal. In this movie, there is one scene, it's the only scene from the movie that I've seen or plan to see, and it shows these girls, part of a dance troupe, that this dance troupe was, these real things exist. I mean, little girls dancing in sensual ways and for the entertainment of perverted people. What else can you call it? But here's a girl, Muslim girl in France. Her father is going to take on another wife, and she rebels against the strict culture. She leaves that. She in her heart, she leaves that. She sees this dance troupe, these girls. She wants to be part of it. She joins, and it's sensual. Here, if it was adult women dancing like that, I couldn't watch the thing. In other words, it's sensual. It's sexual depictions and all of that. You know, little kids, you're watching thinking, oh my God, who could do this? You say, yeah, but the whole purpose of it was to show the wrongness of it. Well, like Lila Rose said, you don't fight child exploitation by exploiting children. Would you let your 11-year-old girl dance in that? And how many people brought their kids, oh, yeah, we want to have them in this. And then how many pedophiles and perverts are going to watch that and be stimulated by it? I mean, that's the reality. Look, Hollywood and the movie industry is very creative and very gifted. And you could have conveyed a message without exploiting children in the process of it. So there has been a massive outcry against this. I don't know how many tens of thousands or maybe hundreds of thousands of people have canceled their subscriptions over this. And with all the trash Netflix has been putting out for years, good reason to cancel subscriptions anyway, rather than to pay into what they're doing and fund what they're doing. But here's my larger issue. And when I wrote about this, I wrote about it before the movie came out. And then once it came out, people saying it's worse than we expected. Here's my issue. It's part of a larger degraded culture. The number one song by Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion that you can't even quote or talk about or watch. When I was writing about it, like, how do I do this? Can't watch the video. Start reading the lyrics, like, ugh, listen to the lyrics. Okay. I mean, how do you even report on it? So vile. I mean, I pray for these women to come to know the Lord and really experience what life is about and their beauty and value as women. But for that to be the number one hit in America, that means that tens of millions of Americans have no problem with older women degrading themselves and with men objectifying women in the most lustful and degrading ways. And you know for sure that little children will be singing this stuff and twerking along or doing whatever else, gyrating whatever else is going on there. Now, let me give you a response from someone who thinks we're extreme in feeling like this. From the New Yorker, all right, Cuties, the extraordinary Netflix debut that became the target of a right-wing campaign. Richard Brody, this is what he says. On Wednesday, so last week, Netflix releases Cuties, the remarkable first feature from the French filmmaker, Maïmouna Doucouré. Forgive me for mispronouncing the name. Unfortunately, the platform's misleading advertising has given rise to a scurrilous campaign against the film itself. So Netflix, their bad ad, they acknowledge that, okay, the promotional image showing young girls in bikini-like clothing dancing in provocative ways, matched with an inaccurate description, has been taken to suggest that the film celebrates children's sexualized behavior. In fact, the subject of the film is exactly the opposite. It dramatizes the difficulties of growing a female in a sexualized and commercialized media culture. I doubt that the scandal mongers, who include some well-known figures of the far right, have actually seen Cuties, but some elements of the film that weren't presented in the advertising would surely prove irritating to them. It's the story of a girl's outrage at and defiance of a patriarchal order. So he's saying, hey, people on the far right, it's a scurrilous campaign now against Netflix. They don't know what the movie's really about. Let me say this again. It doesn't matter how good the overall message is. And of course, yes, there is a revolt against patriarchal order or the Islamic patriarchal system as well, let's put it like that. But here's the issue. Let's just say that you put out a movie about the horrors of child pornography, which are more horrible than we can imagine, which are more horrific than we could even talk about. If we were to feel the weight and the reality of this absolutely horrific, sinful, demonic, diabolical, destructive, ugly practice taking place in our society today, if we were talking about that or someone producing a movie about it, you don't put images of kids in you don't actually depict that, okay? Trying to be careful with who's listening, kids listen. You don't actually depict that. You don't have pictures of it. You don't recruit kids to play those roles. What's happened to us, friends? Yeah, just one of my team just commented that some on the left will support this because it's anti-Islam, but then anti-authoritative religion. Now here's what's interesting. I'm watching the major voices rising up against this movie. And in the political scene, I'm seeing it overwhelmingly Republican and hardly any Democrat. Well, why is that? And others are calling on the Obamas, who have a very lucrative deal with Netflix and Michelle Obama in particular, to produce things that will enhance and help women. Remember Michelle Obama with crying out when the children were kidnapped in Nigeria. 200 girls were kidnapped by Boko Haram terrorists, and she was one of those who raised her voices. My feeling of the Obama family is that they're a devoted family and a committed family. And here they were in the White House without marital scandals. I mean, God knows what happens behind closed doors with any family or situation there. But, married once, no divorces there, a good image. To me, that was an upside, as much as I didn't like Obama's policies, President Obama's policies. To me, that was positive, that here you have an intact couple with no divorces, with not a history of public scandals, devoted to their daughters and all of that. That to me is a very positive image. I was glad we had that in the White House. Yeah, all good in that respect. I don't think of the Obamas as saying, oh yeah, go ahead and sexploit girls. So here, the Federalist has an article saying Michelle Obama is complicit in Netflix child porn film Cuties. You say that's a strong accusation. It is. But you know for sure that Michelle Obama has enough clout to say to Netflix, pull that. I don't want to be associated with, we have a large investment with your company. We're working together to do good for women, to do good for girls. Now, maybe she's doing stuff behind the scenes. Maybe. You say, don't fool yourself, Brown. Hey, I always want to try to think the best. Maybe she's doing things behind the scenes. Maybe it'll take some days or weeks to find out. But if not, I would want to know. Here, think of it like this. Donald Trump and Melania Trump enter into a major agreement with Netflix to be producing content that will empower women and enable women. You say, oh yeah, right. Donald Trump, he's not that kind of, okay. So just say Melania Trump. Melania Trump, a major voice now associated with Netflix. Would you think that if something like this happened and she's going to produce movies and documentaries to empower women and to help younger women and stand against cyberbullying and things like that and sexploitation, you would think that she would raise her voice. It would be expected that she would, wouldn't it? So I understand where this is coming from in terms of this request. And maybe something's going on behind the scenes. That would be great. But to ignore it and Netflix to dig its heels in? No, this is good and the message is good and we stand behind it. Really? Here, Tulsi Gabbard, look at what she said. So this is one of the rare Democrat leaders speaking out. Netflix child porn Cuties will certainly whet the appetite of pedophiles and helps fuel the cold sex trafficking trade. 1 in 4 victims of trafficking are children. It happened to my friend's 13-year-old daughter. Netflix, you are now complicit. Cancel Netflix. And real quick, Tom Cotton. All right, so these are senators, these are leaders. Tom Cotton. When will Barack Obama condemn his business partner Netflix for its sexual exploitation of young children? And then Ted Cruz. Why is Barack Obama silent about Netflix distributing a film that sexually exploits 11-year-old girls? How many millions of dollars has Netflix paid Obama? Is stopping child exploitation and or child porn a priority for Joe Biden? Why is Biden silent too? I would love to hear from these men. I would love to hear from these Democrat leaders and former President Obama and First Lady Michelle. I would love to hear from them. Raise your voices. Can we at least all stand together on this?